Hello, my name is Sabrina Lovejoy, and I would like to welcome you to the very first segment of From Cashier to Corporate, my own personal journey from being an 18-year-old mom working in a fast food restaurant till about today being in a corporate position. Probably about 5 years ago, I sat down and I started journaling about some of the things or the experiences that I've had over the last over the years in raising my daughter. And I realized that I've got a lot of experience and I learned a lot of lessons. I want to say the hard way, but I think that they could be very valuable to other young mothers if their goal is to earn more money in an effort to take better care of their families. At 17 years old, I remember working in a fast food restaurant, and I remember having the thought, because I was pregnant at the time, that there's no way I was going to raise my daughter off a fast food check. I remember having that thought, but along with that thought, I had no idea how that was going to happen. The most I had at that point was typing experience. I'd taken several classes at school for typing. And at that time, I could probably type 70, 80 words per minute. But outside of that, the only other experience I had was customer service because I'd worked at fast food restaurants for several years. 2 days after my 18th birthday, my daughter was born. 6 months after that, I was graduating from a program from a local community college that taught single mothers or low income mothers basic office skills. So they taught basic accounting, typing, 10 key by touch. They've really emphasized dressing for an office environment. They really emphasized being on time, taking your breaks on time, customer service. They were really big on that. Within several weeks of my getting that, from my graduating from that program, I landed my first office position. Working at this company, I was probably making the same amount of money I could have made working at a fast food restaurant. However, I had benefits. I had vacation time, which is very important when you have a young child. You need to be able to, if they're sick, you need to be able to have the time, take off the time and not be penalized pay wise. So vacation time was very important. And I also had the opportunity to contribute to the company's 401k. Several years after the company, I had started working with the company, they went out of business. In between the time, now the company was very gracious in that they allowed me time to look for a job before they actually closed their doors because they understood that I was a single mom. And in that particular position, I was I worked in the office. I handled orders for customers, and I worked with a whole sales team, and I made sure that the orders were correct. And if at any time there were something needed to be returned, I handled the returns. I just handled all of the office stuff pretty much. I also worked with the gentleman that worked in the warehouse as well. So the company eventually goes out of business. I have several interviews. I've now with several, what are they, tip services. So I've gone on several interviews. I've worked several jobs. However, none of them really lasted a long time. So in between the time of my landing my next full-time position, I don't have a job. My daughter's father and I are arguing. My mother and I are arguing. My mom is mad at me because I didn't take my daughter's father out for child support as soon as my daughter was born, like she told me to. And my daughter's father is arguing with me because our relationship is really falling apart at this time. We are young and we are doing what young people do. We were making everything else more of a priority than taking care of my daughter. So one Sunday morning, I get up and I'm crying. My mom and I are at it, and Like I said, I don't have a good relationship with my daughter's father. So I get my daughter together, and it's a Sunday morning, and we're going to walk. I'm going to walk to the local church. It's probably 12, 1 o'clock. I'm sure church is over, but I still feel like I have to get there. I walk down the street. I'm crying the whole time. It's probably 4 or 5 blocks away from my home. I get to the church, and I basically walk in, and all I can do is stand there and cry. I've cried the whole 15, 20 minutes there. And now I walk in the door, and all I have are tears. I'm just crying. Several mothers of the church are gathered together, and they're kikiing and hanging out, and they're just talking about whatever. And then one of them notices the young child holding the toddler, crying in the doorway. And all of the mothers rush over, and somebody takes my daughter, and they're asking me questions. They want to know what happened, what's wrong. And I really have no information for them. I can't talk. I think at some point I was able to say, I can't do this by myself. And I start rattling off how I didn't have a job, all of the things that my daughter needed, my relationship with my mom, and my relationship with my daughter's father. All I remember is the women surrounding me. I remember them offering me hope. I remember them praying for me. I remember them telling me to stay strong. I remember them offering to help me in any way they could. I don't remember them giving me anything. I don't remember them doing anything more than praying for me, anything drastically more than really praying for me. And I think that was all I needed to have the faith that I can continue to move on. I can continue to do the things that I need to do. I tell you that story to kind of give you a background for why I am so passionate about single moms. I know how hard it can be to think that you cannot do this on your own. I know how hard it is to, first of all, believe that no one is going to help you, that there's no way you have enough knowledge, resources, opportunities, friends. I know what it feels like to just feel like you've made the biggest mistake, that to feel like your worst nightmares as far as being a mom has come true. I know exactly what that feels like. Over this next week, I hope that I'm able to encourage you to look at yourself a lot different. I hope I'm able to encourage you to assess all of your skill sets, all of them. Everything someone has ever told you you do well, I want you to put that in your toolkit. During this next week, I hope to encourage you to fight for what you want, decide what you want without the fear that you're going to make the wrong decision. You'll have more than enough time to pursue whatever path you choose to pursue. And if at any moment you feel like you've made the wrong turn, you can make a different turn. So this week, I hope to really share with you why I'm so passionate about single moms and why I'm so passionate about women new to or frustrated on their corporate journey. I think that might be enough for today. Thank you for joining me. Again, if you'd like to reach out, my name is Sabrina Lovejoy, and you can reach me at sabrina.lovejoy@yahoo.com. See you tomorrow.